Yeah, that's nice to see you. Thanks for your time, mate, as always.
Of course.
I'm going to bowl about 55 names at you in terms of fitness-wise, but we'll just roll with it. Slimani, how are we looking for this week?
Not tomorrow. It's too soon for him. But the plan is that he will be a part of training starting next week, so realistically he can be a part of the game, Derby at home.
So just to clarify, then, he hasn't really been able to get back into training this week?
No, we tried to push it just a little bit to see if it was actually realistic for us to bring him in as a part of the team training. Wednesday, he was not really ready for that, and then we took the decision that with only one training and being out for 4 weeks, it's not enough to be able to get back into the team. It's a little bit the same case with Marcelino, where he's also on his way back, and if everything goes well, also with him, he will be integrated from start of next week, and hopefully if everything goes good, that both of them can be a part of the team Saturday.
Gabe Forsyth, have you managed to plug him back in this week?
No, because unfortunately, just the final step of his rehab, he felt pain in that knee again, and we have to take him for another scan. It was very, very clear, the first scans that we've made with him, that there was no need for surgery or anything like that. But he still struggles with a little bit of pain when you have to reach his maximum speed and his maximum exposure. That is a little bit game-like and game realistic for him. So that's where he struggles at the moment. So we have to find out what is the next step for us to take. What is the best way to treat him? So of course he should not have pain when he's doing his maximum stuff. So that's where we are at the moment.
Particularly with him as well, he's made that sort of leap from development to professional first team environment. You've got to be very careful as well, because that's a lot of extra load on a young player.
Yeah, it is. First of all, all of us were happy that it didn't require surgery, because always when you see a player struggling with some knee pain and having a knee injury, you always fear for the worst. But hopefully, and fortunately, it was not like that. So now it's just to find out what is it we actually need to do, and what is it he needs to do to be able to be 100% fit again, because there is something that is disturbing him and not making him able to perform on highest level, and that's of course what we need.
Any clarity with Forson in terms of his knee?
Yeah, that will also be a little bit longer one, also longer than expected, because he had this knock to his quad, and I think it's a couple of times actually that they have drained some blood from that, but it keeps on being painful for him, and he cannot really still stretch his leg, and of course when you cannot do that, he's not able to train at all. He's not been with us on the pitch. So what we hope was just probably a week or something like that. It's of course a little bit more now, and probably we're looking for a couple of weeks from today.
And then the other one really just Liam Gibbs, just again any clarity sort of moving forward?
No, we cannot set a date to when he returns to training, but he started to run outside here. He started to run with the physio, just being out on the grass again. But I think we're at least talking a couple of weeks before he will be just a little bit back with the team.
Just want to ask you, just a couple of your younger lads. There was I saw a report there, maybe Tony Springett's had to go and get a bit of surgery on the back.
Yeah, he had some back surgery. He had actually the surgery last week, or was it the beginning of this week? No, I can't remember. But he had surgery in his back. And will be out for a while. I think it's realistic that we talk about, probably around summer.
Yeah, which is terrible for that lad as well, because he's not really been able to come in and show you what he's all about.
No. It's not been a season that of course he hoped for and that we hope for, and that's unfortunate. And we just have to support him, because the last thing we should do is to put pressure on a guy that cannot really show what he can do. So only thing is to support him, and then of course give him a fair chance when he's back again.
And the other one, Archie Mayer, there's a few reports in Scotland earlier today. Maybe he's unfortunately broken his thumb, had a bit of surgery. Yeah,
he had surgery as well, so he had to come back. So, of course, not training with us, but again, very, very unfortunate. It was an incident as I've seen it in training. He broke his finger, and of course, when an injury like that happens, then I think it's 6 weeks out or something like that. So he's back in the building again, and what seemed to be a very, very good opportunity for him is now the opposite. So we just support, and he will be back with us.
In terms of the mechanics, I think Motherwell have since now gone in and brought in another couple of keepers. Is that the loan cancelled down then? Is it?
Yeah, he's back with us again.
I think that's enough to be going on with. But is there any that we don't know about for
I
tomorrow?
Can't remember. I hope I have 11.
Yeah.
I can't remember, to be honest. I think that's it. I need to print the list next time.
Yeah. I did want to ask you about Borja, really. I think if I've got my maths right, I think this is his 5th game of the 6 now tomorrow.
Yeah.
But in this period now, how have you ticked him over? You know, has he been able to train with the group, or have you dipped him out? Has he gone away and done a bit of individual work? How's it worked, really, fitness-wise?
He's been with the group. He's in here every day. I think, of course, the 6 game ban was a big punishment for him, and probably close to being enough. Then there's been a fine also from the club, and like I said also a couple of weeks ago or months ago, that he kind of also apologized to the group and said it's not behavior where it's not really him, it's not the person he wants to be. And I think actually he's working with that, or I know that he's been working on that as well, to be even better in the future, to cope with pressure, to cope with a kind of a new role for him as a player and as a person. So we try to use it as good as we can, but he's been fully with the team from. Yeah, he had a couple of days where he went back, and then he was with the team again, and he's been performing well, and he's doing well out there, and there's no complaints from me in his behaviour or professionalism here.
In this period, I mean, you would have obviously spoken to him and Ben, I'm sure, as well, in the immediate aftermath, but now the dust has settled a little bit. Have you had, on that theme, chats with him in an environment where, almost you need to go away in certain areas of your game, not on the pitch maybe, but in terms of how you approach and react to things? Yeah,
we have. To be honest, I left them a little bit alone to begin with. I think there was a lot of things going on, and there was the media stuff that was going on. There was the FA stuff. There was the club situation and all of that. And I think it was about to become too much for him, which is fair enough, because it was a stupid thing to do, and everyone knows that. And he's the first one to raise his arm and said it was not a good thing to do. But here, towards the end of the ban, now we start to, like I said, he's been integrating from day one, but now we start to open up a little bit more. He also came to me the other day and said that he's still working on this, and he's using support also from outside to start to work with this, because hopefully, I would say, he will face this the rest of his career as a player, that there will be even more attention to him, because that's the kind of player he wants to be. So now he needs to learn and understand how to deal with it. So, but he's to be fair, he's been acting really, really good, and he's good around the team, where there's been full professionalism in training, and in some of the trainings he's been acting like an opponent, because we have to prepare in certain ways, and there's been nothing for him. He's just been doing his job. So no, he will also be a part of the team again when he's back from that suspension. Yeah. Favourite topic, transfer situation. Just starting with a little bit of development movement. You brought in a young lad from Scotland, Domarachi, I think his name is. Yeah. Just interested really how much, because we know there's, within your recruitment department, there's academy recruitment types, and there's obviously an academy hierarchy up to Dean Rastrick. But how much input are you having in those type of deals? Do you play any role in it at all? I don't play an active role, because that's their job to find them. But we have meetings every month with Joe, with Dean, with Ben and Neil and I, and Glenn is also a part of that, where we sit down and we discuss the academy, we discuss the pathway from the players, and they bring to the table if they're about to sign players. So we knew about him, and we knew know that we will sign him. We've been presented what he's good at, and what type of player he is, and what we can expect, and also what his pathway is here in the club. So we are aligned. We should not bring any players in, especially in that age, where we don't know about it on the first team, because we have to look at them. It was a little bit the same with Lucian this summer, where it was the same. We were aware of a new player coming in. We got presented what he could do as a player and his pathway and so on, and we are part of it. We are not the active part in that sense, in terms of bringing the player in terms of recruiting and scouting and all that. Yeah. Possibly, I know it's not done yet, but maybe going out the other way, Jane and Warner, a little bit of talk, maybe there might be opportunity Newport. Yeah, realistic that he will go. I think what he needs is game time, and I think what he needs is game time on senior level. We cannot give him that, because he's not close enough to the team. That's how it is, and that's also the message that he's been given. So it's I hope for him, and I hope for the club, that he can go out and get some experience. And to take that to the next step, and maybe pulling in Tompkinson as well, who's gone out previously. I think I'm right in saying they're both out of contract this summer. Is it safe to say they're not really part of your plans? I think, of course, things can change, and we have to be aware that things can change. And sometimes I've I've had numerous occasions where I can go back in time and say, okay, with this guy we actually said that it was more or less about to be job done, and he's out, and then the rest of, or the last part of his time in the club, everything changed. So I try as much as possible not to be too black and white in decisions like that. But of course, we took a decision and said that he's not close enough to the team, and he's not been training with the first team for a while now. So that is of course a clear decision and a message for us. But things can change, and also when you go out, you get some experience, you play games on a regular basis, things can change. So our opinion can also change. But it's fair to say that he's not close to the team at the moment.
In terms of going out and getting experience, one man who has done that, Adebayo, how clearly again he'll have to come back in the summer, and maybe then he has to maybe show what he's all about. But are you already thinking now that he could be one who could be part of it moving forward?
Both yes and no. I think with him, he played some minutes for us this preseason, this summer, so I think we've seen what he can do. I think what was also important for him was to go out there and play on a regular basis on the highest possible level. I think he found that, and I think he's performing well. So he will get back with us, and then we have to see if his level is what we need. That's again to be honest. He's our player. We treat him as our player, and everyone is fully aware that he's performing well, and a lot of also coaches have been watching some of his games. So that's where we are at the moment, and we have to wait and see some more.
Jurasek, you obviously gone out and done that business. Where are we with him? Have you managed to get a couple of your sort of sports science guys out there, your fitness guys out to check to work with him?
Yeah. They've made a schedule for how we can cover that time best possible way, and we have had 2 guys away on a shift, so to speak. So he's been with us more or less the whole time, and actually from the start see if we could start to integrate some of the movements that would be realistic for him to do, some of the high intense stuff. Of course, it's been purely individual work, so it's a little bit more difficult, but still the movements can be done, and he's been doing really, really well, and that's also the feedback from the coaches who was with him, that he's eager to learn, and he's a good performer in terms of the physical stuff.
How do you see the timeline now? Because I think procedurally, I think you can come in after the transfer window start next week, if I'm right in saying. Yeah. So then you can get him in, you can integrate him. Is Derby too early?
I don't think it's too early. I think it's probably too early for him to start, but I don't think it's too early. I think he will be a part of the group from next week. That's the first step for him. I think I actually like that when you bring in a new player that you try to get them in as quick as possible. So they kind of have that feeling they are part of the squad from day one. So if we can give him game time already on Saturday against Derby, that will be fine. And it's not unrealistic that we will do that, because I think just to get out there to the stadium, have your first minutes in front of the crowd, and get that feeling, that will be good, and that will be useful for us in the next step.
I think we are more or less 3 days out from the end of the window. I mean, are we where we feels like we've been for the last week or two? You're in the market. If you needed to react, you would do. But do you envisage anything senior-wise happening?
Yeah, I think I hope that we can do a little bit here towards the end, because I think what we should do, and what we always try to do, is just to constantly build on the strategy, constantly build on the team, how we want it to be, how we wanted to find player profiles that fit the way that we want to play. And I think we have to use every transfer window to do that. I think Jurasek is a really good signing, and will be a player that fits in perfect to the way that we want to play. Of course, knowing that we should give him time to adapt and everything that comes with that, but he will definitely be. And then if we can find 1 or 2 players, probably to bring them in now, but really prepare them and make them really ready for when we start pre-season next season, that will be good for us if we can find the right ones.
So so there might be a little twist there between now and Monday from the way you've teased it there.
Yeah, I think it's realistic that something can happen, but we have to wait and see.
In terms of, you've kind of painted a scenario there that obviously if there was interest in your players, that would then trigger reaction. On that aspect, is there any sense that there's any decisions to be made with interest in your players?
No, not really. It doesn't seem like that. So for the minute, there's nothing really on the table. So not really. We have, like I said a couple of times, we try to prepare, so we're not we're not caught off guard if something happens. So, but it doesn't seem like that for the moment.
I think Emmy, when he spoke to Connor there earlier in the week at the mental health event, he kind of intimated he would be very open to maybe extending his stay. We know there's an option there. From your point of view, everything you've said, you're very happy with the impact he's come in. Is that a deal you feel could get done at an appropriate time in terms of extending it?
Yeah, I think all those there's more players than only him where we can talk about extensions, and it is finding the right timing and also probably after the window, so we know exactly what we have to deal with for the next 4 months here, and also we can start after the window here to prepare for next season and prepare what the window is going to look like. So we take, of course, everything into consideration. We take performance, and we take personality and everything when we have to make that decision. And of course, also squad planning is a part of it. So he's been doing well, and it's again, realistically, he's definitely a player that we're looking or we could extend. But we have to look at the whole picture, and we have to look at what's best for the squad and for the team and for the club, and make sure that that's the plan, even stronger after pre-season. So that's the talk and that's the thinking.
Moving off that, I just wanted to dwell just on one point with the Swansea game and about Oscar Schwartau. Did he show in his performance there that for you now he's a viable consideration to start in centre mid? There was a very mature performance last weekend.
Yeah, it is, and I think he's been giving us a lot of mature performances. I think it's great. Yeah, but I think it's the plan is that we at some point need to take him from that wide position and move him in. Then of course sometimes, or actually always, we have to look at the opposition and what we actually need for that game, that specific game. I think what he has shown is that he can cover the wide positions and the central positions now, and what he has shown is that he gives us a lot of hard work in every game he plays. It's we can just, when we look at the physical numbers, he's up there by the best performers in the group in every game that we play, and it's impressive for a young guy. But he can definitely do it. So plan is in the future that he will be more central in his position, but I'll say for now we will probably see him as much on the right side or left side as we see him centrally.
And then moving on to Watford, that win here 4-1 in September, I mean, one of your most emphatic scorelines, but did it feel like one of your most complete performances on the day as well, given the level of opposition?
Yeah, not to praise yourself too much, but actually when I look back at that performance, I think it was really, really good. I've seen it in the start of this week just to see what we did back then and the structure and the positions and of course just the game. And to be fair, I think we did well. So we try to do some of the safe stuff, but of course also we have to be aware that it's not the same lineup for us. It's not the same players available for us. So there will be some small changes, some small adjustments in the way that we both build the game, but also our pressing game in the game, because we have to look at the players and see where they are best and then find that position that suits them best. But it was a good game for us, and of course our ambition is to go to Watford tomorrow and see if we can do some of the same stuff. We have to accept that it's a great team, especially at home. They have a really good home record, so probably it's going to be even more difficult than the home game against them. But we are confident that we can do something like it.
What do you make of them right now? Because you look at it from the far, and it's 1 win in 6. It feels like they're in one of them sticky patches you would clearly get in this league. You've had to experience that as well. Yeah,
but I don't take too much out of it. I think what we know is that they're really, really good at home. What we know is that they can bring a lot of physique into the game when they need it. Especially off the ball, they can be quite intense, and they are man for man. So we have to prepare that. And then on the ball, we know that especially a couple of their players can be a threat in between the back line and our midfield line if we give them too much space there. And we know that if they play with wing backs, I know they've been in different formations in the last 5-6 games, but if they play with wing backs, we also know that they will make some and do some crosses that we have to defend well, and we have to be really, really aware of what space to cover in the box in those situations, because we were hurt a little bit last time against them with those wing backs running in late at the back post. They also scored the goal from a situation like that. So that's a part of what we are discussing for the game.
Final one. I mean, off the back of last weekend, a real positive result and confidence now that you can inject some momentum into the second part of this season. Is this one of these games where you could get a little bit of a boost because it's a team in and around you and they'll have the same aspirations to try and get into that top 6 conversation?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. It's a difficult one, and we still have to remember that it's even though we've had a good week now and we've taken some of the days to get some recovery into the group again, it's still kind of the same players going through. We will still see a very, very young bench in Watford tomorrow. Probably, I know I said it before, but I think probably tomorrow will be the youngest bench that we have had so far, because we still don't have too many players available, and that's the situation. But I think it's a strong lineup we put out there tomorrow, and I like to give minutes to some of the young ones, because that's the future for us, and I'm happy every time I see them out there. I'm happy when they also get the support from their fans that they have done recently, because that's everything they need in their next step in their career. So, but we're still aware of that. So a difficult one, but we have confidence in our performance, and I think the Swansea game was good for us, especially in terms of the chance creation and scoring goals again. So we try to bring some of the momentum from that game into the performance tomorrow. But we know we have to work hard. It's away from home in the Championship, and it's never easy.
Never is. Thanks, Johannes.
Thank you.
Thanks, pal.